don't like because it's culturally not acceptable to use this language anymore. When Dwight Eisenhower was in office, he called it an invasion, which is what it was, of illegals, and he called it the wetback program. Now, sensitive or not, that's what it was called. But he wasn't the first president to remove illegals from America. Truman did the same thing, and he was a Democrat. And Hoover did it as well, for different reasons, but they did it. Today we have cultural change going on in America, and our government doesn't listen to us. They don't hear us, because they truly don't care. The Republicans don't care either. Anybody that believes the Republican Party cares about the illegal immigration policy is mistaken, because if they really truly cared about it, when Reagan was president, he'd have stopped it, and he didn't. He left us the inheritance of illegal immigration, and all the illegal children born in this country since that time. That's his gift to America. I know people don't like that, but it's true. They want to remember Ronald Reagan for all the things he did. Well, this is the one thing he did that has done more damage to our economy, our society, our schools, and everything else than all the other things he did that were right, other than maybe helping in the Cold War. It was not a benefit to us. And when he knew George was following him, he knew he wouldn't build a wall and he wouldn't stop it. Because George Bush I believed in the World Trade Organization, GATT, Agenda 21, and every other liberal thing that flies around. George II, let's see, he was president from 01 through 08. He had a total control of the House and Senate for 6 years, 1.5 terms. He didn't stop illegal immigration even then. So if he truly wanted to, why didn't he? It's called fluff, or political speech. It's correct political speech. I have to say certain things to get elected. I know a lot of Republicans resent these things being talked about. But if you read history books, there's a lot of things in there about a lot of people that we all think were great that aren't so nice. They still were people, and they were politicians, and they had their motives, and what do I need to do to make a deal? What do I have to do to stay in office? What do I have to do to get reelected? Especially if you're a senator or congressman, what do I have to say in, let me see, June of 16 to get elected in August? Because most Republicans in the state, if they win their primary, they're in scot-free, and they know it. So they're sort of appeasing us when they're running for office, even though they vote against us the whole time they're in office. We have congressmen in this state that are voting against us. You look at the trade bills we have. You look at the continuing resolutions they passed, the debt ceiling they raised, the Cyber Intelligence Security Protection Act that Schweiker, Salmon, Franks all voted for. And this is what we call freedom in our country today. You look at McCain. Look at what he's done. Look at what Flake has done. I ran against Flake in 12, and I tried to tell Arizonans, this is who this man really is. But he walked around and he got all these endorsements from Club for Growth. Club for Growth isn't a constitutional organization with that. It picks certain legislation. If you vote for it, you're a conservative. People need to look these words up and try to figure out what they mean. They're selling our country down the toilet. They're flushing us. That's what they're doing. They're changing our culture with all the imported illegals coming across the border, all the others flying in. They just did a study. You know, we've lost 520-some thousand people in this country that came here to visit. We don't know where they are. They did no tracking on them. And guess what? 20% of them is. They're all from the Middle East. Doesn't it make you feel warm and fuzzy when you know 125,000 people from the Middle East are now inside the borders of America and you don't know where they are or what they intend to do? None were vetted. They came on visitor visas. Almost like that bride. They didn't look at Facebook to see how radical she was. I'm sure they didn't do it on those people either. That's the kind of government we have. We're at war with our own government. They're not there to protect us. The Constitution means nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. I talked to a couple of congressmen when I used to be on my talk show, and I'd ask them about stuff, and they'd say, why did you pass this bill? It violates the Constitution. Well, Dan, you know, we pass these bills and then we let the courts decide. Oh my God, are you out of your mind? Every bill you pass or put up or sponsor or co-sponsor, you should vet that bill with compliance to the Constitution. Not only the verbiage, but the original intent. If it doesn't pass the muster, you don't put it out on the floor for a vote. You don't even bring it into the committee. But we don't have anybody quite honestly, for the most part, in Washington that's got the brains to blow their nose. They don't care. They care about getting elected. It's power. It's not even the money. It's the power. You know how many of those people retire and get on boards of directors? And they don't know even how to flush toilets. These people are boards of directors not for their brains, but for their votes. And if we don't change this cycle, it won't really matter if they're Donald Trump. Because if you don't give him a Congress and a Senate that's got some stomach and spine, those cronies will keep playing this game, and they'll negotiate. And yeah, he can make good deals, and I don't doubt that he is. I'm a retired businessman. I made a lot of good deals with Walmarts and Costco's and Sam's Club. And trust me, if you can make money with those people, you're negotiating. Because they're not in business to make a company money. They're in business to make money off a company. And we made money. And yeah, I did have a political talk show. And yeah, I did embarrass a lot of politicians in Arizona. And most of the politicians in Arizona today, I wouldn't even vote for. I will not vote for these people. I don't do the better of two evils voting. I do what you call none of the, NOTA, none of the above. I write it on the line and I draw a bar from it. And no one can tell me that doing that is giving the other person a vote. That's like telling me if I donate to McDonald's, it's giving Jack in the Box a vote even though I didn't stop there. That just doesn't make any common sense. If I don't want to vote for somebody, the gentleman before me, Mr. Hayes, was talking about 750,000 men who died to free slaves. I respect their deaths. I respect the people who died to form our country, and the people who died in World War I and II and III and Vietnam and the Desert Storm and all the rest of it. And it's disrespectful to vote for people who are less than what we should have. It's like committing adultery. I'm sure most people's husbands and wives wouldn't appreciate it. It's an honor thing. Your vote is an honorable thing to have. People died to give you the right. And for the parties to stand and tell people, vote for the most electable, or vote for the better of two evils, or who cares, just support a Republican, he's better than a Democrat. That really isn't true. Do you know that if you put a bad Democrat, which most of them are in office, as a congressman in a Republican district, because you have a terrible Republican who's voting against our Constitution consistently. So you put a bad Democrat in. You know the bad Democrat's going to be there 2 years until you can find a decent Republican? Because Democrats that are bad can't get reelected in a Republican district. But I'll guarantee you this, we got a number of bad Republicans in this state that are congressmen that are always getting reelected because we can't run against them, they're an incumbent. John McCain is a terrible, terrible senator. Jeff Flake is no better. David Schweikert's no better than that. Neither is Matt Salmon. Neither is Trent Franks. They vote for unconstitutional laws. They get us into trade deals. And then they come and say, I'm a conservative. Who in the world believes that? It's not true. But if you talk about it, you're destroying the party. We want unity. I don't want cancer. I really don't. And that's what it is. It's destroying the fiber of our party. I go out campaigning every day. I meet voters in the streets every day. I will tell you firsthand how angry some of them are. I had one that almost wanted to attack me because they thought I was in office. I had to explain, no, I'm running. And they, okay. But this guy was, you could see the anger in him. There was a guy getting some signatures for a dog and rescue thing, and he was watching this and he was scared. He said, man, I thought that guy was going to hit you. I said, so did I. But it's true. The anger out in the streets is volatile. The voters are angry. That's why these politicians that run against Trump aren't getting anywhere. They don't get it. They think they can do the same old stuff and get elected. Yeah, I'm running against, what is it, 3 people. Kane, Ward, and Molesky right now. I've heard there's another one, but I've never met the man, never seen the man, don't know anything about the man, can't find the man. I think we all know about Senator Ward, Molesky, or not Senator Molesky, McCain. I've not met more than, every day I meet at least one person that's going to vote for him, and I talk to over 200. So I don't think that's too much of a problem. The other 2, Alex, I don't know much about. He's a nice young man, capable businessman. I don't believe he's politically equipped to be a U.S. Senator, quite frankly, when I look at the issues and some of the things he says, but that's my political opinion. And hey, you know, as far as former Senator Dr. Ward, I wouldn't vote for her on a bet. She passed bad legislation when she was a senator. She took authority away from our superintendent of education, not a body, an office. And I don't care if you and me are driving down the street and I ask you, can I go 80 miles in 30? And you tell me Yes, you can, and we both know it's violating the law. When the cop stops me, do you think he's going to care that you said I could do that? Then why would a senator tell me that an office holder said they agreed to losing power? And that's why I voted for it. And that's an acceptable excuse to most voters. Well, the other person in office said it was okay. Well, gosh, that means if Obama says he can take our freedom away because the senator said so, then it's okay. That is insanity. That's our government. That's the voting public. That's most of the politicians. If two of them get in the room and agree to something, it makes it all right. It doesn't matter that state statutes and the Arizona Constitution says it's wrong. They make it okay. Most people don't know that in a state statute, an appointed employee is not allowed to manage a government employee. Because if you're appointed to a job like the Board of Education, it's not paid. You're not an employee. You cannot manage employees. So how in the world can you be given 11 employees if you're not allowed by state statutes even to tell them what to do? They violated their own laws, but they don't care. Because the party, as they were told me, it was leadership that wanted this. Well, what does leadership mean? It means Doug Ducey. That's what that means. Because he wants to make the Arizona Republican Secretary of Education an appointed job. So he has total control over education. This is ludicrous. I'm running to be a U.S. Senator, but it upsets me how people in this state don't know how people in this state vote, and they will support them to be, I'm going to promote you. Now, if you get promoted at 45 and John McCain is 79, there's a 34-year separation there, right? That means we could actually have this person for 36 years. Can you imagine John McCain for another 36 years? This person will do this at state level. I believe they'll do it at federal level. Because history has a habit of repeating itself. I want to thank you for your time. I am Clair Steenwyk. I am running for the U.S. Senate. I do have a website. It's either vanussenate.com or vote4van.com. Everything that I talk about is on there. It's active. You can actually make comments about things you do or don't like. And if you have suggestions about issues that are better ideas than I have, I'm open to them. Because most of my ideas actually come from out there. I listen to voters. I learned a long time ago in sales and marketing, you better listen to the customer or you're going to starve to death. Well, if you're a citizen running for office, you better listen to the voters. Really listen to them. Not kowtow to them, not kiss up to them. Represent them. And that may mean not one person will ever go out to lunch with you in Washington. And that may mean a lot of people that are outside right now that are in office and run, that used to beg me to be on my shows because I was doing well in the market area in Phoenix, now don't even speak to me. Funny how things turn when you decide to go from behind the speaker to out in front. You start revealing all the nonsense that goes on because you knew it. You did it on the radio. When you take a public like this, they get really nervous. So God bless you and thank you, and hope to see you down the street. Thank you.